Welcome to Season 7 of The Common Bridge, hosted by Richard Helppie, a leading analyst, philanthropist, and entrepreneur. Now expanded with healthcare, education, finance, science, and world affairs bridges, the podcast, now in its 7th season, with an audience of over 7 million worldwide, explores issues in a fiercely nonpartisan way. Find us at The Common Bridge at substack.com, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hello, welcome to The Common Bridge. I'm your host, Rich Helppie. We have a very unique episode today. Now, look, we talk about a lot of serious topics. We've welcomed a lot of authors. Today, we're going to do part of that because we're just going to have fun today because it's been really difficult trying to get people to agree on policy and meet in the middle. But, can we at least laugh together? And can we have some fun? So I have two fellas with me today that have been buddies since like their first breath, I think. We have one guy who has been amazingly successful, designed products for over 40 companies, has a lot of patents. And we have another guy that, he's done okay for himself, won a Tony Award for his portrayal on Billy Elliot on Broadway. He was excellent. I had a chance to see him there. He won a Screen Actors Guild recognition for his role in Oppenheimer. And of course, the long-running series Blue Bloods. So we welcome back to The Common Bridge, Mr. Gregory Jbara and his dear friend, Terence Duncan. Now, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I did mention authors. And so today, I am going to be plugging Terry's book. And Greg's going to be, it's called Unfiltered Consciousness. You can get it at Amazon. And you know what? There's plenty of time before shopping. And here's the good news. It's sold so few of them that whoever you're getting it for doesn't have it yet. So I want you to get in it and buy this book so that Terry can make rent and feed his cat and do all those other things that he mentioned in the books. Now, I actually went through.
Rich, my cat just died a couple of weeks ago.
Well, this is so Terry can get himself. So Terry can get himself.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Terry can get himself another cat. Okay, and I barked all of the pages that I found particularly funny, and then I had to go on and make notes because he kept going. And so we can't cover it all, but Terence, tell me, why did you write a book? And Greg Jbara, by the way, has never written a book. Just putting that out there.
My cat,
I can't read.
My cat used to sit right here on this table when I worked. So I had a little pet for her.
You're going to need to get another cat before you can write a second book. Then
I know.
Well, let's see if we
I'm
can.
sorry, did you ask me a question?
Yeah, let's buy this book. Who should buy this book? Who did you write this for?
Well, people with money should buy that book. No, anybody who doesn't get offended by satire, someone who doesn't get offended by satire, and someone who likes to keep their mind occupied. Like if they're on an airplane, if they're at the beach, if they're in the men's room, it's something to keep your mind occupied and amuse you along the way.
Well, great. And I noticed in the foreword that you mentioned another fellow that had been a guest on The Common Bridge, Steve Drummond, an excellent historian.
Oh, he's been on your show.
Yes, he has. He was a
big motivation for me writing this book.
A lot of people have been trying to get to The Common Bridge. Of course, Greg Jbara got here before you did. And occasionally you mentioned being a little jealous. But Greg, what have you been up to and what brought you out in support of Terence's book? Was it pity or was it adulation, something in between? What brought you to this point?
Well, first of all, it's love. I mean, you have to, it wasn't first breath, but it was probably fifth. We were actually friends in fifth grade, right? Fourth grade.
Well, there was the marionette incident in fourth grade. Right. Never mind.
Yeah. And I was kind of part of the cruel group toward you in during Radcliffe's class, wasn't I?
No, yeah. It was just the marionettes. That was the only.
That was it. But so since fourth or fifth grade, and I don't think there was anything we didn't collaborate on. So for this book to manifest itself, and although we've been enjoying his short stories on Facebook, and I've gone to a couple of his stand-up routines. Well, actually attended one live. My mom and I came when I happened to be in town. But this is this is not something I would even attempt. And I think I'm curious to find out, because I know this man, like, actually he has a lot of very close friends, but I can't decide if it strikes me in the heart because of the humanity that I know is Terry Duncan, or because the things that he exposes are such universal human condition that everyone will have the same appreciation as I do.
You have to talk that serious about a book about, like, if you were at, let's say, Juilliard or someplace, did you have to talk that serious about a book that everybody should buy for Christmas because it's actually funny? And having walked this life with Terence, what did he leave out that is a source of relief to you, Greg?
Well, I think there's actually what I think is a lot of honest pain, because as an actor who's worked in, and we all have dabbled in comedy, right? The only reason we laugh is because it's just on the other side of pain, and you choose. But I think Terry is incredibly honest in this book, and yet we can all still laugh at his struggle. I think, right, that's what great comedy is we empathize with and we see someone either fail or suffer in some capacity. And Terry, your ability to put those journeys on the page and make them so concise, like these are a bunch of little nuggets and thoughts and short stories. It's not like some big epic screenplay. These are a bunch of thoughts and ideas that all of them.
What's the longest chapter's like a page and a half, I think. But he covers things that everybody wants to know, like why women remain single. He goes into the relationship with his.
That one might have gotten me in a little trouble.
Yeah, I mean, and he refers to his ex as the plaintiff. Now, Terry, is there a lot of people in your life, or particularly women in your life, that are also referred to as the plaintiff or the victim?
Oh, there's just one. There's just one.
Tell us about her. What was her most endearing quality?
She's a wonderful woman, and I actually cleared it with her, just like I did with Greg. There were times when I called Greg and I said, Greg, I'm going to talk about you here. Let me read this to you and you tell me if you're okay with it. And I did that at least 3 times with Greg. And I did that at least 57 times with my ex-wife, because she's a wonderful woman. We're very good friends now. And she has a good sense of humor. But a lot of people are divorced. And there is that period when you're going through the divorce and right after the divorce when it's not pleasant, but looking back, it's hilarious.
Yeah, look, the operative question for the audience of the Common Bridge is real simple. Is she less of a plaintiff enough to buy this book for Christmas? Okay, that's really what we're after here, is buying this book. And, you do mention Greg, and many times, and I can't believe he gave his permission some of these things. You mentioned, for example, he's a Tony Award-winning actor and a regular on Blue Bloods and his role in Oppenheimer. And, you make slight mention that he's a good deal taller and just finished directing a movie. And just in case anybody thought you were jealous, you just come right out and say, Terry's not jealous of Greg. In fact, you mentioned that over and over again, just before you point out that Greg doesn't even have a single patent.
No. I mean, who doesn't have a patent, for crying out loud?
Yeah, right. Like, what is it? Somebody else writes his lines for him, right? It's like, it's not like he creates it.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So I have a picture of you guys here at a baseball game. Look how happy you are. This is a vintage game in 1941 before color film had been invented. So tell me about you guys sharing sports. I mean, I understand you played football at one time together.
Oh, yes, we did.
Oh, yeah.
I even write about it in the book.
You do, yeah.
Greg, do you want to tell the story so I can correct you?
No. Wait, there were a couple of variables. What was it? What was funny about it was, I think in the end you said, oh, he did this just so he could, I abandoned because we had an agreement, right? We had an agreement.
We had an agreement.
Will you explain what our agreement was?
So this is ninth grade. Greg and I decided we were not going to try out for the musical that year.
The fall play.
The fall play. Instead, we were going to play football. And so, great, right? So the first day of practice, Greg gets a boo-boo on his thumb. Like a little boo-boo, like a little boo-boo.
Sure. Let's hold that. So there's a drill called Bull in the Ring, and you're given the ball. The entire football team's in a circle. You have to exit the ring, and you're only allowed to go through guys who are bigger than yourself. I was 6 foot, a quarterback. I couldn't go through a full. I had to go through our linemen, Jim Demaray, Steve Housley. I tried to go through them. They just picked me up, smashed me on the ground. The ball shot out like a tube of toothpaste. We all went. The rule is, if you get the fumble and make it out through that hole, then I've succeeded. So as we're crawling for the ball, my hand goes on one of their helmets. The other face mask comes down and literally breaks my throwing thumb. Like,
well, wait, it was described as a boo-boo, and where I thought you were going with that was there were guys bigger on the field, so you bit your thumb in order to go try out for the play. But
not that I need to defend myself, but it was a little more than a boo-boo.
Okay, but the bottom line is,
been described in a book that you can buy for Christmas.
Yeah, it's in writing,
a boo-boo. So who are you going to believe? Your aging memory or this book here?
That
was my last attempt at defending myself. Now throw me to the wolves.
What was the play, and were you able to get a role in that play?
It was Cheaper by the Dozen.
Was that year?
Yeah, and so Greg's done a good job of rationalizing the fact that he abandoned me so he could be the father in Cheaper by the Dozen, a role that was obviously intended for me, right? I mean, but we got over that.
Vowed to stay away from that production.
Well,
yes, we got over that.
Gentlemen, I can tell you, because now I'm a few years older than you guys, that I was actually in my junior high production of Cheaper by the Dozen. And this is how it came about. We had baseball practice, and we were sitting in the back of the auditorium cafeteria, and the teacher that was directing the play said, "Oh, I just don't like the way this doctor is." And I'm like, "I'll go do that." And so I got to do the doctor role and wore the lab coat of Max McKinney, who's Kevin McKinney's dad. I don't know if you guys know Kevin or not. There's 3 McKinneys. But anyway, we all shared that, and then went out to play baseball. Now, did you guys play baseball at all? Softball?
You did.
I played JV for 2 years, maybe. I think just 1 year.
And Terry, how jealous are you of Greg's ability to play baseball?
You know what? Not at all. No, not at all.
All right, so Greg, I got to ask you
I also can't play cello.
Have you ever talked to a major league scout?
Well, yeah, for my son.
Okay,
but not for me.
So
no.
Okay, great. Well, I understand your son's a great ball player, right?
He's he's gifted. Very
beautiful. Okay, your wife must have great genetics and stuff. So.
Yes, indeed.
I actually was approached by a major league scout one time, and
how far along did you play baseball?
Not far enough, because I had a problem with authority. It's every entrepreneur does. But I remember the conversation distinctly. He approached me and he said, do I know the name of that guy over there? It had nothing to do with me. It was whoever was taller and faster than me. So, but true story.
That's humbling.
Yeah, it is. It's you know, I went to school with Glenn Ambrose. Okay, I knew that professional sports was not going to be in my future.
But you aspired?
I liked playing, yeah, and above average, but you know, it's
it's a terrible business. It's hard.
But
acting is so much easier.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, okay, so Terry, I'm looking. You say in this, you have comparing apples to other slightly different apples. You say you're very proud to say that you're not jealous of Gregory Jbara's success or his fame or his money, his famous friends, his height, and good looks don't bother me, nor does his slim build. No, his Tony Award and long run on CBS's Blue Bloods, police drama are testaments to his talents, and I'm happy for him. And you say you're very mature that way.
Thank you, Rich.
And then you go on to say that that Greg won a Distinguished Alumni Award. By the way, so did I, and my little sister. But apparently not you yet, Terry.
No.
So what do we need to do to get you into that illustrious group?
Well, you know what? Let me.
I'm going to suggest
this by saying,
if enough people buy this book, we got a shot.
Maybe that's right. So, you know, I write these little, I call them musings, musings, and every single one of them has some truth in it, and almost all of them start with the truth, and then I blow it up toward the end. But I really did always want to be the distinguished alumni. I mean, I remember being in high school when the distinguished alumni would give a speech at commencement, and I wanted to be that person. And I was happy for Greg when he got the Tony. I was thrilled with him when he got the TV roles. You know, I was more. You know, he's got kids that are great. I was more than happy for him. But I feel he stole that award from me. You know, just and it's kind of a character flaw with Greg because it ties right into the football incident, right? It's the same type of thing.
I can see him elbowing you away from the podium and when going in there and taking the award. Yeah, I mean that happens a lot. So like that. Now you write about our beloved Great Lakes, okay? And you know, you are able to. I've never actually read somebody that in one page can get the Zuki Lake Tavern, Ypsilanti, the Ausable River, and the water that's feeding the Detroit River, along with toilet flushing in 1.5 pages. What was your inspiration for this chapter, Terry?
I had right before that taken a road trip into Michigan's Thumb. And if you don't know what that is, it's this part right here. Actually, for your perspective, it's this part right here. And my whole life, I had never been into the Thumb. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I planned a trip, you know, went up to Midland, Bay City, and then I went up to Bad Axe. I went down to Ludington. I did all these things. And what I found out is that I was the first white man to ever go into most of those areas. You know, people would look at me. It's like I was like an alien to these people. It was crazy. I had to explain about the land down south, and you know, we call it Detroit and all this stuff. But it was really gratifying for me to see parts of my state I hadn't seen, and so I decided I would immortalize these people that I met in my book.
Well, you did a good, and you also give some other history lessons, like the border war between Michigan and Ohio, and of course, we've just come off of the game where that team to the south managed to, you know, win one. It was so funny because it's like they didn't know what to do. They kept looking at the scoreboard, like that number's bigger than the other number, and but you know, I shouldn't. tease their academic standards, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they have now got where 4 out of their 5 undergrads can correctly spell the name of the state by the 3rd try.
Well, gonna have to stop making fun of them.
Yes. So, Terry, how did you manage to think about the that little piece of history about the Michigan-Ohio border war?
Well, this is a direct result of having read Steve Drummond's book on Harry S. Truman, and it got me thinking about history and how important history is. And Steve wrote about a chapter of history that was very little known. And I just happened to know of a portion of Michigan's history that was little known. And that's that back during that period, which would be around 1830 to 1840, Michigan was actually developing tactical nuclear weapons to use against Ohio. The problem was the scientists didn't know what that was, right? They had no idea what a nuclear weapon was. And so they were kind of starting from behind the 8 ball. But the effort was there to do it. So that's what I wrote about in that book.
Excellent. And look, I got to plug the Purple Rose Theater did an entire play about the border war, and of course it was a roar. Hopefully that they'll bring it back. So Terry, you're a big coffee drinker, and you like your coffee, but I think you point out something that you're against dairy farmers because you drink your coffee black. How can you be so down on dairy farmers, particularly when it's so important to our state?
Here's a true story. This is absolutely true fact. The amino acids in milk combined with the coffee pigments are what stain your teeth. If you don't put cream in your coffee, the coffee won't stain your teeth.
Well, I know. We have a friend in common that drinks her coffee through a straw to protect her pearly whites.
That's not right.
Yes, it is. She shares a lot of DNA with me. Okay, but we'll get. You don't mind? We should just go there right now. Okay. Which of you guys had the biggest crushes on which of my sisters? And please don't name them by name, but I know this has occurred.
Well, when I was a young man, one of your sisters was a very prominent actress at the high school. So we were, as a junior high male, I definitely had a crush on the eldest of your sisters. The second, with whom I went to high school, because she was in band and probably could kick my ass if I crossed her, probably developed an affection for her just for the sake of staying alive.
Now, I have many sisters, and my father, who was a tough guy from Detroit, and truant officer and other things like that, he divided the boys that would come to call on them into porch boys and boys that were allowed in the house. Now, I was probably gone by that time, but do you fellas remember your status? Were you porch boys, or were you that rare bird that got to come in the house?
Well, Terry, do you remember? I've been hanging out with one of your sisters. I don't think he was a porch boy. I think he was allowed in the house.
Oh, I understand the question now. Okay.
Look, my father got several of the porch boys airborne for attempting to come into the house, and apparently had to, no, it's a true story. He had to apologize to one time because apparently he didn't bounce that well when he landed. But you guys were cheating death, and you didn't even know that. So let's wrap up. Terry, you write about a girl you dated in Ypsilanti.
Oh yeah, I won't use her name, but yes.
Yeah.
Did you have to get her to sign off on this, or did you not mention her by name?
I didn't because I have no idea where she is. But anyway, So I for a short time, I dated this woman when I was going to Eastern. I went to Eastern for a couple of years, and her father. This will give everything away. Her father was the head coach of one of the varsity teams at the high school, and I was at the time an art major, and not athletic in any way. And so I show up at her house, and I was allowed in. And I never felt so much disdain from a human being in my life. Her father took one look at me, and I could just hear it, even though he didn't say it. I was like, no. And he was rude, and he was mean, and it was horrible. It was a horrible experience. Look, it was almost as bad as losing my cat.
Yeah, look, as a serious investigative journalist doing this work today, I was able to see through that story, because had you gone one house to the left, okay, that would be heading north.
Yes.
2 houses. Okay. My cousins lived right there, including my cousin, who was kind of the it girl in her Ypsilanti high school. And my guess is this obsession with Helppie women extended into Washtenaw County. And you went to the soft target because my 2 male cousins that lived there were freaking enormous, and one could literally bend steel bars in his bare hands. So this obsession has been long-lived. By the way, they're all spoken for right now, as far as I know.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And still amazing women.
Yeah. All right. Enough about my sisters. They don't talk to me that much anyway, so it's not a big downside. So, all right. Okay. Look, there's observations on life. All right. That how can men rationalize not wearing T-shirts? And, Terry, you describe, T-shirts as kind of a socks for your chest. And you actually make a case that it's a good idea. Why is that?
You got the phrase wrong. Socks are the T-shirts for the feet. Yes. And that's kind of the way I live my life. Every part of your body should be covered up at all times, and to absorb sweat so you don't see through the shirt. It's just polite. It's common courtesy for other humans.
Terry, did you actually hold that idea before we worked at Greenfield Village?
Greg, that's my whole life. I've never been able to wear a shirt of any kind without a T-shirt.
Because do you remember the lady who designed our costumes at Greenfield Village? She was the lady who taught me about the power of a T-shirt. She said, even on the hottest day, wear a T-shirt because it'll hold your perspiration against your body and won't make your outer shirt look like shirt.
Yeah. Now, that means you have to sacrifice the T-shirts, right? Every once in a while, you got to throw them away because they're taking the brunt of the abuse, right? And they can only take so much.
Look, if you get the right kind of T-shirts, what we call beater T-shirts, okay, you can get rid of the outer layer and go into that neighborhood on the north side of Glenwoods Avenue, okay? In the middle of winter, you can do that, okay? There's no photographic evidence that I was there because I could tell you there's a lot of guys that look like me. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I don't know anything. Okay.
The beater couture.
Yes. Okay. So, Terry, you've actually done some really serious work designing appliances. And what's your favorite one that you've designed? And you make mention about that wistfulness as you see them becoming obsolete. Tell us about
that. I spent a number of years at Whirlpool. And for those of you who don't know, Whirlpool makes KitchenAid countertop appliances. And I was in charge of design for the countertop appliances. I had a staff of people designing toasters and countertop ovens and blenders and all that good stuff. And I really enjoyed when I was bored. There's a Target 2 miles from my house. I would go to Target and walk down the aisle and look at the appliances that my team had designed. I'd go to Williams-Sonoma where the high-end stuff was. It was really quite fun. Not very funny, I admit, but it was great for my ego. And then over the years, all at once, the coffee maker's not there anymore. And the blender's not there anymore. And this isn't there. And it's like little pieces of me were dying. And it was making me feel old. And it was making me feel useless. And like I say, it's not very funny. But
what aren't there still nuggets from your F-150s that are in play?
Greg, I have to tell you something. This will be the first time I'm telling Greg this. I had nothing to do with the F-150 ever. Somehow you got it in your head that I did. And when Greg would introduce me to attractive women, he'd always say that I designed the F-150, which I did.
The interior.
I worked on the Fiesta, what's that other one? The Fusion, Milan, the Edge,
okay.
A bunch of them.
Obviously, he's trying to be a good wingman by not saying that and using the F-150. Good job, Greg.
Yeah. But that got me some mileage at parties Greg would take me to. So I went along with it. I never said it. I just nodded and.
You never corrected me to make me look like I didn't know what I was talking about. But the Fusion, the Fiesta, the what?
The Edge, the Focus.
The Edge.
Milan, Mercury
Milan. Those were the main
None of those
ones
is sexy. None of those are as sexy as an F-150.
Greg, it's clear that you were trying to help your buddy out.
He was.
But aren't we still sitting in some of your steel case furniture, though?
You know what? I was just having a conversation with somebody. I had a steel case sensor chair, and I can't find it now. How do you lose an office chair? I have no idea where my steel case sensor chair is. But
when they came and took your cat, they took the chair.
Oh, you think?
Sure, I would take your chair.
Indeed. Yeah. It wasn't nailed down and you needed a chair.
Yeah.
And, it could have been, they could have been a great Christmas present, like Unfiltered Consciousness could make a great Christmas gift. But you also talk about car ads at Christmas. And I thought it was a great insight. Tell us about that chapter.
Well, now Saturday Night Live later, after this was written, did something similar. But my thing is, so somebody buys you a Lexus for Christmas. Your husband buys you a Lexus. Okay. For what reason is he buying you a Lexus? There's got to be a reason, right? So I just speculate, because I certainly don't know everybody's situation, but I think it's to keep the spouse quiet, because they're being kept against their will in the house. They could even be trafficked for all we know, right? And the only way to keep them quiet is to buy them a Lexus. And it's a sad state of affairs. So when you see somebody driving a brand new Lexus, a woman, she's been trafficked.
That's great. And you also point out that it'd be really hard to keep that a secret. And what did they do with the old car? That
Right. And what about all the stuff in the glove box and in the floor console? Well, did that just get thrown away? Women keep stuff in there that they want. Makeup, loose change, right? The whole thing just smells to me. It's something's wrong with that whole thing. And I just felt I should point it out.
I think you should. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about this, flipping through these, is that little short vignettes, as Greg said, it's like little insights into life. And also, we all grew up in the same area. probably know hundreds of people in common. And you guys were, well, Terence, you were very kind with that. We all know, what we're supposed to say and not supposed to say, and who we're supposed to talk about, not supposed to talk about, particularly when we're recording this, because these Common Bridge episodes could just go on for like millennia. We don't know where they were going.
Sure.
All right. And I will let you know that I have not heard yet from NASA saying they're not going to be used as examples of mankind's superiority into other galaxies. Okay.
Right.
I mean,
right.
we're running right now neck and neck with the best physicists on Earth. We're running with the best movie makers on Earth. Okay. We're moving, the Common Bridge is definitely in sync, as is the book, Unfiltered Consciousness. I hope you'll get your own Post-it notes for this too. Now, I didn't mark everything that I thought was good, but truth be told, I ran out of Post-it notes. And I was on a plane for reading this most of the time. So as we come up to the end of our time together, guys, Greg, you are a recognizable name around and face around the world, classically trained, multi-talented, and always generous with your time and your efforts, and willing to help a good neighborhood buddy like Terence out with this. What do you think people should know about this book, and why should they go buy this book today?
As I told Terry, I don't know what at several different stages as I was reading this book. I think I posted on Facebook. My nose was still running from laughing so hard. And I love this man. Like,
what do you love most about me, Greg?
That you're still my friend after all these years. That's incredibly generous of you. This is the guy who would show up at my house when we were younger, grade school, junior high, he'd go to the Five and Dime and buy hilarious Christmas gifts for every member of my family, and then come and gift them with all the stories of why they're significant. My family now has, this is such a Terry Duncan gift. It's he's a part of my DNA. But his book is great. It is. I think it's universally accessible, and it's healing, and it's easy. I literally don't read. I don't read because I read for work, so I don't read for recreation. I'm looking forward to rereading this. This will be after the. There's a book signing.
There's a book signing coming up. Yeah. On the 8th.
But this will be after. This will be after.
Right. And I have to say, too, about Greg, to turn all these musings, there's like 235 musings in the book, and something has to tie them together as a narrative, right? And one of the things that ties them together is the fact that I'm not jealous of Greg, and that I hold no animosity about his success. And but that's kind of the thing that glues the book together. And so there are some backhanded compliments that I give Greg throughout the book, out of love. And he never had a problem with any of that, and he saw the humor in it. And I did try to get permission from him. And I'm glad he did that, because I think it made for a better book.
I love you, Terry. Thanks. I never had to give him permission. I trust this man.
But I did ask.
My life and my family. But you did. But I'd like to say the final chapter, which literally catapulted the end of this book. And it was like going, I can't wait. Oh, that's it. And I went,
Which one
that's
is that?
great
Which
writing.
one is that, Greg, that you're referring to?
Literally the final, and it has nothing to do with me or us. It is. Is
it the one about my cat dying?
No, it's your magic. It's called Making It Happen. And It's one page. It's a page. And I was laughing out loud, and it has nothing to do with the gift that you are in my life. But I'm just so proud of you. I can't. Oh, also, I just got my mom's copy, Terry. So I'm bringing this to the reading.
Excellent.
If you'll please sign this for my mom.
What's your mom's name? Joan. Her name's Joan. I know that.
Well, this last chapter, it does come out great. I mean, I don't know where anybody could combine a silent fire alarm concept and a stand-up solid waste toilet and a foaming mayonnaise dispenser, reusable Kleenex.
Aren't those foaming soap dispensers cool?
Oh my God.
I mean, imagine if everything was foamed. The world would be a better place. Mayonnaise especially.
Oh, and with foaming mayonnaise, Terence, anything else you want to leave with the listeners, readers, and viewers from the Common Bridge?
Well, I will tell you I'm about 70% done with my second book, which is about 50% similar to the first book, but it takes different twists. And I'm hoping to have that out by August.
Great. And the book signing's at Silvio's in Canton, Michigan on the Monday the 8th?
Monday the 8th, in case somebody is hacking this.
Well, I don't know when this is coming out of production,
travel.
because Brian Kruger is a production genius, and he has an extensive comedy background as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he can do this. So with our guests today, Terence Duncan, author of Unfiltered Consciousness, the perfect stocking stuffer. And with Gregory Jbara, this is your host, Rich Helppie, signing off on the buy the book. Come on now, people. You can afford a book. And don't wait for it to come out on the remainder. Never mind, I'm distracted here. This is your host, Rich Helppie, with our guests, Gregory Jbara and Terence Duncan, signing off on the Common Bridge.
Thank you for joining us on the Common Bridge, where we continue to seek clarity across divided lines. Subscribe and support the Common Bridge on Substack, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Until next time, we invite you to stay informed, stay engaged, and help build a bridge of common understanding.